Welcome to our Trade to Developer podcast. My name is Suzanne Elsey.
My name is Craig Shields, and we've often been asked to share how we've transitioned from trade to developer. We're now ready to reveal all. So I'm going to talk about my deal that I'd done in Maidstone, was commercial to residential, and I'm with a friend of mine, Alex. We was working on a client's job at the time, and it was through the architect. It's through an architect that I know said to me, someone in Maidstone looking just for a couple of stud walls to put up, and we do small carpentry work. So I went along and met the guy, and basically it was an old Moss Bros building which was over 3 floors and was huge. It had warehouse space, and the shop floor was, one of the floors was used for bridal, one of them used for men's suit fitting, and then downstairs for the shop. He basically went and met this guy, and he basically said, look, I want to put a wall up here, right halfway through the ground floor shop. And I was a bit strange. I was like, why are you just putting a wall up there when you've got loads of other parts of the building? He said, well, basically I'm going to get planning permission on the back, but I've got to pay business rates out on the whole square metre of the floor. So if I put a wall up here and start renting this out as a shop, I can put the rest of it down as development. So it saved him money on the business rates. So it's like, clever. But I said to him, problem you got there is this is your only access out. And I was like, and there's lots of demolition to do in there. You're probably going to want to rip it all out. So if you're going to do the development, all you got to do is load materials for a new entrance later on. When you do, because there was going to be a new entrance down the side that we cut in a wall, but he couldn't do that until he got the planning permission. So he was like, okay, so what are you suggesting? I said, well, we can price for doing the wall, and we can do the rip out if you like. So we done all the rip out, and we put this wall up, and we got it all in place. And there was a few other bits he wanted added in. He wanted, obviously, he ended up getting a tenant which went on the first floor and the second floor, but in the meantime he was doing his planning permission, and he got knocked back on the first time his planning permission. He just said to me, can I ask your advice and have a look at it and see what you think? And it was to do with light and sound. There was like a nightclub stroke restaurant next door, which was never used as a restaurant, but had a license for late drinking. So it had to go down that it was going to be a problem. So I looked at it, and we had a little play around with the layouts, and he then put a light tunnel in and stuff like this just to get the light into the ground floor flat. And then the architect done a few other amendments. He put it back in, got the plan in second time round, and then he was really pleased with it. But at the same time, he went to me, he has it in a SSAS pension, and he wasn't allowed to have residential in his portfolio. And he also had a problem with the value of his SSAS pension being too high. I don't know how it all works, but for his circumstances, it just didn't work for him. So he was like, I'm going to look to sell it. Thanks for all your help so far. Would you be interested in it? He valued it. We had a look at it. And at the time, I was actually doing a development of 4 flats in my local area, which is up half hour down the road in the Isle of Sheppey. And we just finished in that. So we had some equity in that development. So I spoke to a lender that we normally use and just sort of said, look, I've been offered this opportunity. I've got money there. Can you help me equity release that so I can purchase this? He came down, he had a look. He was like, certainly, it's a cracking deal. I can do this with you guys. Obviously, we had to pay the stamp duty, the legal fees, and the entry fees to the loan. So some money that we had to put in ourselves to do. So we done that, and this is one I spoke about briefly in one of the other podcasts, but we done a buy of the freehold, but leased back the shop to the vendor because we didn't want the commercial. And to be honest, we didn't have the money to buy the commercial at the time because the value of the commercial and the rent that he got was another 300,000. And I was like, I'm not paying that for a shop. But this development that he had, it had permission to turn them into 8 flats. So we managed to raise the funds through finishing one of our projects, and we done equity release, and then we had the money to buy it. So we purchased the property for 490 plus VAT. So we had to pay VAT on the commercial element. So we had to work out the square meterage of the shop over the whole distance of the property, and then value that. So we had to renegotiate because that wasn't told to us at the beginning. So actually I think it was like 500. We knocked 10 grand off to compensate for the VAT with the owner.
It's taken us 7 years to make the transition from working with clients through to developing our own portfolio, and we can speed that up for you. If any of this resonates, please do register now and we can help you transition yourself from trade to developer in just 12 months.
That went really smoothly, and then obviously the build, we had a costing for 600,000, but we halfway through the project, we worked out, we were going round and we measured everything off the drawings first of all, and we worked out all the materials and everything, and the plasterboard materials kept going up and up and up, and we were like, what, something's not right here. So we'd done a full measure ourselves that day, or it took a few days, and we worked out that there was an internal wall when we done the demolition for him right at the beginning. The architect measured before we done the demolition, but Moss Bros had false walls in, and they measured to the false walls. So then we ripped out all the false walls, took it back to the masonry, but over 8 flats, it actually worked out there was an extra square meterage of like 42 square meters, I think, which obviously worked out a lot more materials.
That's bigger than a 1-bedroom flat,
That's
isn't
right.
it? Minimum standards.
So we had to go back to the development company, which we didn't want to do, and say, look, this is what's happened. It topped the loan up, and we finished the project. It was a 12-month project, so we bought for 490. We spent the 650 on it at the end, and we've got a service provider in there, which I met talking to on one of our other projects. He just walked in and we do this and through the council, and we can offer you this. So he basically offered us to take on all eight flats, £100 more extra per flat over the market rent, and he actually gave us a little bit more for the ground floor ones, because he said if you take out the baths and put showers in, we'll give you another £100 per flat. So baths are out, showers are in. This is a definite. And they've taken it on for 5 years, guaranteed rent, no maintenance, no management fees. We are down for all main structural repairs and boiler repairs. Obviously, got new cylinders in, they're all fully electric. So touch wood, we're not going to have too much maintenance on them. And we refinanced and kept that property for 1.55 million. So we refinanced all of our money out, and we've just done another equity release that has now purchased another property similar with planning permission with 9 flats this time. So that was a great commercial to residential, and that's the other one that we just bought is another commercial to residential, but we've done 3 in a row with the same lender doing equity release, and done the same thing on this one. So we just pay all of the entry fees, stamp duty and legal cost. So good.
Brilliant. Nice one.
I said the numbers for it, didn't I?
Yes. You can wrap it up if you want.
So just summarising on that, we bought for 490 plus the VAT, claimed the VAT back. We built for 650 and we refinanced at 1.55 million and kept all the properties, and it is gross turnaround is 98,000 per year. So pretty happy with that deal. Thank you all for listening, and thank you all for your support, and please subscribe to the upcoming podcasts.
Just remember the famous quote from Henry Ford: if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got.